Hi everybody, this is Rhys Barber from Audiology Associates. Thank you very much for watching our earwax removal compilation video today. So there are 3 patients in this compilation video. The first 2 have skin issues. So you can see this first patient here, very deep skin problems here, all built up around the eardrum and coming just away on the top there. Got the standard size ulnar tube in here, so you can see we've got a good grip on this first section of skin, but look as we pull this away, how it draws a long ribbon of skin. Now don't forget, that's how skin forms in the ear canal. It grows to the full length of the canal, so it's not unusual to get these really long pieces. I think the longest one we've ever removed was about 11 centimeters, I think. So I'll pop a card up above just in case you want to check that video as well. But you can see here we've just tidying up, getting these sort of deeper bits of skin away, really sort of peeling away from the canal wall, taking these bigger chunks away from the eardrum as well. What the issue with this patient, when they came through, they started to have a few issues and then decided they were going to use one of those corkscrew earwax removal tools. Unfortunately, what it's done with the end of the corkscrew is actually pushed this skin debris right down against the eardrum. So it didn't get anything out, but did in fact cause more problems by pushing it further in. So you can see this last section here, we're just drawing that down. There we go. You can see that long sort of ribbon forming behind it, just drawing the next piece away from the drum. But what you'll see on this next shot here, we'll get this little piece away from the entrance. There we go. When we take a look again now, you'll see just the leading edge of a little bit of dry skin against the drum, just in that little sort of recess. But what I want you to look at is, although it looks like a tiny amount here, watch what happens when we tease this around the corner. So you're going to see us get a grip here. Now this is the fine end, so we can be a lot more accurate. We can see, or we can really get pinpoint accuracy with a fine end. So we're just going to start drawing this. You can see around that little recess there. Look how much was hiding behind though. Look at this coming away from behind that section. There was so much trapped down in there. So you can see why this patient would have been having so much difficulty with their day-to-day hearing, because all that was pressed down in it, in between the ear canal wall and the eardrum as well. So really dampening the sound there for this patient. So we've got a little bit of tidying up to do. There's the odd 1 or 2 little bits and bobs just to tidy up in here. A very thin skin layer here just on the top of the drum. You'll see that just peel away. There we go. And this very fine, wispy looking skin as well, just on the top of the drum that needs to come away there. There we are. So we can see this is a right-sided eardrum because the hammer bone's pointing up to the right, which I think is mirrored when you do YouTube, so it should be over there. So you can see that it's looking lovely and healthy now. Guys, I'm so sorry, but all the stuff got sucked into the tank, and my fault. I completely forgot to do a tank shot for that one. So you can see now this is our second patient in the compilation. Very similar story. Now the backstory for this patient is that they've been to see another audiologist in a quite a well-known high street chain about a year ago, and they'd actually left this in the ear. They told them it was too difficult to remove this last little bit. So what we're doing today, they've checked us out on YouTube. They've come along for us to see if we can have a go at it. And you can see it's this long flap of skin, basically, that's been sat on the top of that drum. Really, the patient, after the suction last time, really didn't notice much of a difference in their hearing. But as you can see here, you can kind of see why when you take a look at this. So we've got this last little bit here. We're just drawing this down. There's a piece of wax stuck behind it, which we'll just hoover up very quickly. There we go. And what you'll see now is you've got this sort of darker coloured discoloration to the deeper part of the canal. Now that's where all these bits of old skin and wax have been collecting. But watch what happens when we start to lift this up. You can kind of see why you get these issues as far as skin is concerned in here as well. It forms, the top layer comes away as a very fine, thin layer, which you'll see when we start to raise up this bottom section here. But when that obviously comes away from the canal, remember we said it grows, the skin grows laterally. Well, if that top layer detaches, the skin behind it keeps growing, so that top layer carries on growing. And as it comes away, it hardens, so it gets this real kind of leathery sort of consistency to it, especially if it's been in there a long time, like the initial section we took away from the top. But when it's first formed, it's this very fine, almost translucent, wispy type skin that you can see here. So we're just going to do a bit of tidying up around the edges. The next patient is very different to this one. It's a totally different type of issue going on there, but we'll explain that as we go along a bit later on. But we're just going to do that little bit of tidying up now. Still using the fine end. You don't get a tremendous amount of suction grip with a fine end, but it's great for peeling these little loose bits of skin away, which is what we're doing here. You can see it peeling down from the top of the drum as well, all coming away. There we go. Lovely. And if we take a look, that's a right side of the eardrum as well. Obviously you saw it all getting sucked into the machine for this one as well. There we are. So we're on to our last patient in the compilation today. So I wanted to put this one in just to raise a little bit of awareness about this sort of particular issue. We see this quite a bit at the moment. So this is just straightforward wax, okay? Nothing untoward going on in here, no skin, just plain old wax. Patient's been having quite a bit of difficulty, but what you'll see is the wax is really, really sticky and tacky. Now, the reason for that is here in the UK, historically, people have always had their ears irrigated or syringed at their local GP surgeries. But a lot of the GP surgeries are actually stopping doing this now, and they're trying to kind of phase out irrigation. So what we find now is that patients are still preparing for that type of process. So you tend to get a lot of patients coming through and they're using a peroxide drop. Now over here in the UK, that would be something like Otex or Erex, something like that. I think in America, I quote me in the comments if I'm wrong with this, but I think it's called Debrox is a similar sort of thing in America. So what you get here is it changes the consistency of the wax. So it actually melts the wax. So that kind of popping and crackling you hear when you use these types of drops is a chemical reaction where it's actually breaking all these kind of fats down, which turns the wax into this really sticky, sludgy mess, which is an absolute nightmare to remove when you're using suction. Great for irrigation, really bad for suction. So I just wanted to put this one in to try and advise people, if you ever do have an appointment for microsuction to be done, always use olive oil. Don't use anything else. You really don't need to. It'll keep the wax nice and solid, keep it moving, and we can get that out really easily. But when you're using things like a peroxide drop, it actually makes our job harder because the wax becomes super, super sticky and it's really difficult to remove. Now, what you'll see in a second is we will introduce a little bit of olive oil here because we've got rid of that initial sludgy, sticky mess at the entrance. So what we've got now are much, much deeper sections of wax further in, which the drops haven't come into contact with. So this is the slightly harder wax that hasn't reacted with those drops. So you can see here, we're actually taking bits of dead skin away as well because your peroxide drop is alkaline and your ear canal should be acidic. So it does tend to sort of almost dry out that top layer of skin. So it really causes a lot of issues in the ear canal. It's quite an aggressive drop to put in. So you can see now we've introduced a little bit of olive oil and look at the difference this makes now. So we've got this much harder section a little bit further in. We've got the olive oil on top, but look, that wax is moving really, really well. The olive oil forms a barrier to the canal. So basically the wax can slide across it. It won't stick to that canal very well. So we've got a good old grip here. Just giving it a good wiggle, trying to get this out. What you see me doing here is push down and bring it forwards all the time, just trying to unstick it from that top portion of the canal here and work its way out. We're almost there. There we go. So out comes that block. You can see it was quite a chunky little bit of wax that. We've got a bit of tidying up to do here, but look at the ear canal now. Look how much cleaner that is when you actually use the olive oil rather than this kind of mushy peroxide drop. So we've got this last little piece here just to come away. Good grip on that one. Out that pops. It's just working to the outer part of the ear canal. Always got to be really delicate when that wax is that much, much deeper section and it's very thin skin sitting right on top of bone. But there we are. There's the eardrum looking a lot healthier here. So this is also all right-sided eardrums today. So all after that's my right, but that's your right. So you can see here we've got, centimetre and a half. Just under 3/4 of an inch. 5/8 if you want to be super precise, I think. So you can see quite big chunky bits came away, and this was the deeper sections of wax that came away, the bits that the peroxide drop hadn't quite touched. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I did voicing it over. As always guys, take care of your ears, take care of yourselves, and take care of one another, and I shall see you again real soon.